Laura A. Grace here, the author of Dear Author, Letters from a Bookish Fangirl, Team Lines of Poetry Collection, and Fighting God Anime Devotional for Otakus, which is free on a variety of platforms. I'll leave a link down below in case if you'd like to check it out. Happy Friday, my friends. I'm super duper excited that you are here, that you are just hopefully pumped for this manga review today. I am so excited to share all my thoughts. I actually finished it this morning. And I wouldn't say I've been on cloud nine, but I would say I have just experienced all of the feels. And I'm like, I loved the manga so much that this is one of the few times that I feel genuinely nervous that I won't be able to explain myself and how much I really loved this series. But in case if you're curious about what that manga is, it is Strobe! Volumes 1 through 10. There is volume 1, sorry for the glare. But yes, I picked up Strobe because my boss, as I like to call him, I should say, at Beneath the Tangles, as well as Marg at Marg Reads Manga, and then Jennifer at The Artist Librarian on Instagram. All three of them had talked about, I think Jennifer wasn't reading Strobe at that time, but all three of them had talked about how much they love Strobe. And at that time when I picked up this series, my boss was reading it as well as Margaret. And I was like, you know what? My library has it. I'm just going to pick it all up and I'm going to read it on a whim. I came into this series... Wait, time out. I need to tell you what the book's about first, because once I go into my thoughts, that's it. So, Strobe is about our main girl here, Ninako, and the story really is just a story of experiencing first love, because what is love anyway? Ninako has been told by her friends what love is. Ninako has her own, I guess, ideas about what love is, and she hasn't experienced it for herself. But enter Ren, who is our main guy, who comes in and sort of flips her world upside down with things that happen. And from then on, the story is, like I said, it's just this fantastic and beautiful love story of Ninako experiencing those feelings of love, learning what it is herself, I guess navigating through the ups and downs of the feelings of love, if that makes sense. Saying all of that, yes, when I picked up this series, I was not expecting that I would love it as much as I do now. I got it from my library, like I said, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a series that I'll really enjoy reading, but I'm not going to want to collect. I read the first volume and I was really surprised. I was like, wow, I see why this mangaka, which is Io Saka, why she's sort of, I feel like, from what I've heard from other readers, the queen of shoujo manga, because just wow. She has this phenomenal way of capturing emotion on page. I feel like manga does this really well as a whole, but I don't know, Strobe captured all of that, I want to say angst, but there was so much more depth to this story than I expected. And so volume 1, I was like, wow, I really enjoyed this. This was good. I'm looking forward to reading more. And then I got into volume 2 here. Got into volume 2 and I was like, hook, line, and sinker. I'm ready to collect this whole series. And it just kept sort of snowballing that I just kept loving the characters more. We were getting to meet other characters and all of them just have this crazy depth to them. Not in a bad way, but every single character, I feel like, in some way, in some fashion, is relatable. Especially our main girl. I feel like Ren here was a little bit harder to relate to because you don't know what he's thinking. I was going to say he was standoffish, but I don't feel that's actually accurate because you do see that he is overall a pretty friendly guy. He's just very quiet and he doesn't always say what he's thinking. In fact, I actually laughed that when the manga made a comment in later volumes that Ren is looking more human. And I was like, how true? Without looking more human, he's acting more human, I should have said. And yeah, he acts more human as the manga progresses for sure, but just these characters really jumped off the page, and I found Strobe was unique in how it did that, and especially with Ninako, I loved her. I loved her as a main character so very much. I think that this manga is fantastic in bridging the age gap, I guess, and there's not an age gap manga by any means. What I mean is I'm like not in high school. I have not just graduated high school, but I still found and saw myself in Ninako and her struggles and how caring she is for the people around her. And especially like as the like series progresses and these things come up, I can't say, I'm going to keep this review spoiler free, so I can't explain what I mean there, but as things came up and how much like she wants to be there for people and wants the best for them, and like she says at one point, I'm trying hard at doing the wrong things. And I was just like, yes, like I really felt that. I really related to that. And I just loved her. I loved how sweet she was. She's very caring and she's very observant of other people, especially Ren for sure. And Ando here too, who is an interesting guy. She is just a great and fantastic main character that you really find yourself cheering for. And though maybe sometimes it feels drawn out, and there was only one case that I ever felt that the manga was drawn out, and that was in volume 7, and I'll explain more on that later of why. It wasn't bad, but I think because of things that happened that I just was like, I don't know. But the journey that she goes on was just so perfect. I really love just each of the quote unquote steps and each of the things that she learns and how she overcomes things and really learns what love is. It was a beautiful and incredible experience to just read. I just enjoyed it so very, very much. And I realized in this manga series that I love the school festival. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed the school festival, like when it comes up in manga. But yes, and this one I felt like was a breath of fresh air, because sometimes I feel like when we have the school festival in the mangas I have read, that you know that there's going to be some drama unfolding and you're just like, oh, like I can handle some drama, but I can't handle like a whole bunch. But this manga, when it came to the school festival, was just like a fresh breath of air. Like there was not that same drama there, and I don't know, I just really liked it a lot. And I loved the second school festival that takes place, and I guess we can start there. I was going to showcase like all of the manga covers, but we're just going to skip that, and because I have to talk about this character. And that character's not even on the front of a manga cover, but I love this dude. Oh my goodness. So he is right here. This is Toda, and he comes in much later in the series. And in fact, he doesn't even get that much page time. But dude, this character just totally captured my heart. I really, really liked him so much. I love just how he was different than I expected. He has a lot more growth to him, or depth, I should say. And I was just so greatly moved by his character. Like, it came down to it when I was like, you know what? I know that this story is about Ninako and her feelings for Ren, and then Ando comes in, but I'm like, you know what? I almost want to be like, can you ditch both those guys and just go for Toda? Because he's super cool. Granted, there is no kind of romanticness there at all, period, hands down. But still, I just loved this character. And I was bummed and glad to know that when the manga shares like some notes at the end, that she didn't have enough time to do a bonus story on Toda. And I would have loved it. I really was actually hoping for that, but we did not get that. And that was such a bummer. But he is probably one of my favorite characters outside of Ninako, just because he was such a surprise to me. And especially in volume 9, there was a lot of shockers. In this volume, a lot of characters, not a lot, but one character definitely surprised me. Toda was the other one that super surprised me, definitely going in number 2 on that one, because it was just so different than I expected. And I felt like characters almost acted out of character, because I'm like, we're seeing the real you, which was really, really nice. So I loved this third year. He is so amazing, and even though I know he's not real, I hope the best of things happen for that guy. He deserves it. I know I already talked about Ninako, not really much to say about her, but I wanted to feature her because I'm like, well, she's the main character, so her growth though and her arc is so good. I like definitely recommend reading the whole manga. Like, don't read up to like volume 6 or 7 or something and then stop, but read it all the way to the end, because just her journey and her story made every page worth it. I was just like, I was pretty sad when this series ended because I just loved being on this journey with her so incredibly much. I liked being on this journey with Ren too, but like I said, Ren is just harder to read, but he gets more human as the series progresses. And it was interesting to me because usually, and I'm pretty sure I've voiced it on this channel before, I am pretty staunch in when it comes to love triangles. I cheer for one dude and that's it. Like, once they've like captured my attention, bam, there is no turning back from that. But I can honestly say this is one manga that I really didn't know who to go for. I didn't know if I should go for Ren or if I should go for Ando, because both guys were great and I could see their strengths and how they cared for Ninako in their own way. I haven't talked much about Ando, but I think it's Ando. I don't know if it's Ando or Ando, but he is an interesting guy, and I'm actually surprised, saying all of that I did not like solely cheer for Ando, because I confess that I love the trope where you have basically like the playboy who turns good so that he can get with the good girl kind of thing. That is why I love the first volume of Hatsuharu and then got the rest of the series, because I'm all here for that trope so much. And so Ando definitely has that kind of trope, and he is just a very lively character. Like, he is very much the opposite of Ren, and I felt that maybe Ren could be sidelined because he's not as energetic. He doesn't have this, I wouldn't say cheerful attitude as Ando does, but he doesn't have that same charisma. Because of that, Ren, I feel like, could definitely be overlooked as the boring guy, but I really liked Ren too. But Ando was he was such a great character. Like, I admired him in pushing through, maybe that's not the right way to say that, but I admired him in being diligent to go after what he's wanting and not giving up at all. Like, that was really, really cool. Sorry that I feel like I sort of fell flat there in what I was going to say, but I was like, that goes into spoilers. And then I was thinking about something that happened at the end, near the end, not at the end, but near the end. And I can honestly say that that was one of the times that I really felt that I'm cheering for Ando. I think this is it. Like, this is Ando's volume, and this is what I would want to go for. But then Ren comes back on the page, and I'm like, I don't know. So both of the guys are really great, and I love their history together. It's things, non-spoiler things right there, but there is non-spoiler things that happen, and it was really intense. And with that, I just have to say, I don't think this will be spoilers. This volume 6, this is one of my favorite manga volumes I have ever read, hands down. And I am like so bummed that the one manga volume, if I could just get one volume from this series right now, it would be volume 6. And it's not available for purchase anywhere because it's like out of print. I have not seen a scene that showed depression and loneliness as powerfully as this one, and how much of a difference it can make when you have somebody step into your life and just be there for you. Sometimes it doesn't even take a big thing, like a big conversation, like, as I'm not going to say what was said, but as was shown in this manga and what was said to pull out that person from that just blew my mind. It made me cry, to be honest. I mean, it's not a super long scene, but it was so impactful on me, and I felt it was so powerful of just the power of friendship, that what it means to reach out to somebody and just pull them out. And sometimes us, or just people in general, don't even know that they're pulling that person out of that dark pit. It was so good. It was so good. I loved it so much. And I said, I would love to, like, if I can't get the whole series right away, I'm like, I want this volume. I want this volume, because that scene just spoke to me. And I mean, a lot of manga titles have impacted me, but that scene, I mean, I just have not felt that kind of power from a manga before. Like, it just was so moving, and it added a whole other depth to these characters and who they are. And it's not just at that point, because definitely leading up to that, I would say as well, but it's really when it started feeling like, you know, these aren't just fictional characters anymore. Like, these are, yes, fictional characters, but they're representing very real people. And I love when manga does that. I know many say that reading is an escape, and I'm for that. But for me personally, I love when I can see real world people in fiction, because it just encourages me, and I feel like it can testify, in this case, the power of friendship, and just how we should always extend a hand to people. And I don't mean like, you know, that maybe it's our job to pull people out of like their dark pits and stuff, but we just don't know how powerful kindness can be in reaching out to somebody, as small as just saying hello. And with that, this volume, oh my goodness, there was a one shot, and I loved it. Like, I literally felt like that was me on page. I could see so much of myself in that female character. It was ridiculous is all I can say. I was gonna say scary, and maybe so. I didn't like how much I saw of myself in that character, but I loved the ending, and it was beautiful, and it spoke so much to my heart. Like, this whole volume definitely was my favorite, just because of how much it touched me. And I felt like when I was reading this series, especially volume 6, that day was extremely rough for me. And I just felt so loved and seen as a reader. And I really hope that not just younger people that read this series, but I hope that any person that picks it up at any age really does feel seen. Because like I said, the manga can just capture emotion. And I feel like regardless of age, regardless of where we are in our lives, that we can see that we all feel the same thing. Maybe it's not as deep as some other people, but we feel those things. We feel those emotions. We go through similar instances and similar cases in life, or circumstances, I mean. And I just love that so much. And I love when the manga shares these notes and these tidbits of how she just wanted to capture those small moments, those in-between moments that sometimes we don't even think about, but they happen all the time to us. And I really feel like she captured that. I really, really do. There are so many amazing characters in this manga. I mean, you have Daiki, who was Minako's best friend, and how honorable and sweet this young boy is, and how thoughtful he is. I loved his character so much, and I was glad that he had a good ending. If you've read it, you know what I mean, because I was a little bit nervous when you're the best friend of the main character, but I really loved him. I love the example that he is setting, and just who he is as a character, and what he's willing to do things for love. Sorry, I was about to say spoilers, so we're just going to end at that. And I love Ninako's friends, and I love what Ninako learns, that, you know, people can tell you that you're in love with this person, or they can tell you what love is, but some things you really do have to experience for yourself. And I love that about Ninako, as well as how she is steadfast in her feelings. I mean, when other people, not necessarily her friends, are telling her, you should give up, your love's not going to be enough, or your love is not worth it, that she does not quit one bit. This is not Ninako. I'm just holding up this cover because I do like this character, and she is one of Ninako's really good friends. This was the volume that, I wouldn't say I quit the series or anything like that, but it was after reading volume 6 and just how much this impacted me, to going to volume 7, which was really good, okay? I know that it was good. I think it was just, man, volume 6 was like all the feels wrecking me with its impact, and then volume 7 was just like, okay, we're back to normal life. You know, like, I just wasn't quite as invested. But we saw some things from the side characters, and that was really good. I loved Yu, I believe his name is, and Manabu. that is one of the friends of Rin, and our girl here, Sayuri. I really liked her as well. I loved all of them. I loved all of them, and it was just such a great adventure. I was at peace with the ending for everybody because I really was worried, maybe not super worried, but I was really concerned that things would not pan out well for certain characters, and they did. They did. Well, maybe not they did, but I was just grateful for how everything ended for everybody. I did not feel disappointed in that, and I loved how the end of this series was not rushed. I felt it was faithful to the pace that it had been the whole entire series. Oh, yes. Sorry, a random thought that came to mind. I don't know if it was this volume or not, but one of the volumes, the mangaka actually talked about her process of writing manga, and I absolutely loved that so much. I thought it was very inspiring to me as a manga creator, but it was so great, and I just loved hearing about her process, and I was just like, man, she kept saying that she wished she could draw faster. I'm like, your drawing is perfect though, like you just deserve a hug. And with that, I love how interactive she is with her readers. I mean, granted, I know them in the States and I wasn't able to read the series as it was released in Japan, but I felt that genuineness from the manga and the love that she has for her readers and how she really just invites the reader to be on this journey with her. I really like that. It was a very special part of the manga. Oh, there is one other character. This girl here, Mayuka. She was a really interesting character. She was really interesting. I feel like out of probably all the characters that it was a little bit harder for me to relate to, I'm going to say her, just because of how things happen and how things unfolded, and really just because we don't have a lot of time with her, and I did not expect her to make the decisions that she does. They're not bad decisions, definitely not saying that, but it was very different. And I was surprised, and she definitely helped Rin become who he is later in the series for sure. The art in this series is absolutely fantastic. Like, I love the art so much. It is really beautifully drawn. This is... Oh, no, I would say this is a non-spoiler page. Let's just go to volume 1 to show off some of the art because I do not want to go into spoilers here. But I love how their eyes are drawn. They're just really beautiful, and you can see so much expression that's going on, and especially like when Ninako cries, and she does cry often. I do not consider her to be a crybaby though, that you just really can see everything that's going on, like through their eyes, if that makes sense. Because, you know, in real life, you can definitely see things that people are feeling through their eyes. I think that wraps up all my thoughts of Strobe. It is a wonderful series. I highly recommend it, especially if you're very much into high school romances and you want a very, in my opinion, a very realistic high school romance, not just with drama to keep things moving, but one that is a genuine anguish love story. And anguish, I don't mean that necessarily in a negative way, but just where you're feeling all the things and you feel the ups and downs of finding love for the first time. Ninako is a great heroine to be on that journey with. And again, just highly recommend this series to those who love shoujo manga, high school romances, and just really sweet and amazing characters that you can relate to. Totally let me know, have you read Strobe? What are your thoughts on it? Did you like it? I would love to hear from you. And also, if you haven't read Strobe but read this manga's other works, what did you think? I feel like I am a fan of this manga, and I don't know if I should pick up Love Me Not next, or the, was it Ao Haru Ride, I think is the name of it. So let me know you guys' thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thanks so much for watching. Bye!